I enjoyed helping out the veterans mainly because my whole family, a lot of them, they were in the military, and seeing the way they would like smile and talk about their experience, whether they were at war, active duty, or reserved, the way they would talk about it and encourage us to think about going to the military, the way they would talk about all the historic events that happened, all the memorial places that we had gone to, hearing them talk about it and talk to us about it, it just touches something in your heart, knowing what they had to go through, and the fact that they are happy to go and see all the memorial places, talk about what they went. And I know for some veterans it is hard to talk about because of what they went through and they might have PTSD from it, but a lot of them were happy to talk about it and happy to share their experiences.
So you said you had military people in your family in the military?
Yes. My dad was in the military. My grandfather and a couple of my uncles and my cousins were all in the military. Most of them went to the Marines, but a couple of them did go to the Army.
Just have your hands upon us as we go. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Were any of them on the trip with you?
Unfortunately, no, but my friend's dad, he was on the trip. He was in the Army.
Curious to know, what were your father and the family, what were their feelings? Did any of them say anything to you?
My dad was ecstatic that I went on the trip with Mrs. McVicker and the veterans. He was happy. He wished that he could have gone because he wanted to be able to see all of that for himself, especially the changing of the guard, which all the veterans, they seem to love and really enjoy watching. My dad, he wanted to see that. He was proud of me for going and proud of me for helping out the other veterans.
My day kind of follows along a lot with Juanita's. I also have a lot of family that have been in the military. My grandpa was actually on the trip, and it was a very emotional day, to say the least. Witnessing the changing of the guard, I knew was going to be a very emotional thing, but I didn't realize how emotional. Over the summer, I committed myself to the Army, and watching the respect and the dignity and the emotion that came with the day really hit home for me. It was a moment to know that I was able to witness that, and to know that I pledged myself to something so great that does so many great things.
Is there any moment that have been replaying in your mind? Something that just kind of stands out?
I had walked up with a veteran in a wheelchair to the changing of the guard, and I was standing there, and there was another gentleman in a wheelchair, and he had asked his friends to help him stand to witness the laying of the wreath ceremony, and I think that's the one that has stuck with me the most, because even though he needed help to stand and couldn't himself, he still had the emotion and the respect and the dignity to do so anyways.
I would say that there was like a lot of courage in them to do it, to go fight for our country and help us out. Personally, I think I'd be able to, but it'd be a very emotional day, very sad day. But I see how they did it and why they did it, so I think it's a good reason, and they did it for a good cause.
Do you have family members that were active on the trip?
Yeah, my dad was in it, and then I have an uncle and a couple grandpas that were in the military.
How did your dad feel when you were going on this trip?
My dad thought it was really cool. Definitely the Iwo Jima one, because that was like a Marine Corps thing, and we have a little statue at home of it. So it's kind of cool to see it up close person and show them and stuff like that. I would say definitely was an eye-opener and getting a lot more experiences and like hearing the other veterans talk about what they went through and what they did. 'Cause I didn't really fully understand what my dad did or seen, but it was kind of a bigger eye-opener hearing a lot more people's stories. So I would say I understand him a little more.
I know personally, I didn't feel like I would be able to do such a thing, but I know I'm a big family person. I have 5 brothers, and 3 out of the 5 of them talk about how they want to join something. And it kind of put me into a perspective of what if they were to go into a war, and what if I wasn't able to see my brothers. It kind of put me into a place, and I don't know really how to explain what kind of place it put me into, but how they talked about it, how they felt, and the stories that they heard. I had to put my emotions aside and how I felt personally and just listen and see how they handled everything. Some of them got really upset, some of them were really happy that they were there witnessing what they could witness. So I had to put my feelings, my perspective aside, and just be there for them as best as I could and show them that I was alright for them.
Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the bravest person in the world and I could do anything, because I can't. Nobody can. And to be with those kind of people that can sit there and stand proud for what they've done for our country is truly amazing. Like my grandfather, he was in the military for 20 years. He was almost deployed into Desert Storm. And he is one of the kindest people I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm just proud to say that he is my family.
It was really touching for me, especially because of Hugh and Lenny. And Lenny used to work at our school, and Hugh still currently does work here. To watch them do it, knowing that they are both veterans, it was really touching, and it was a very emotional moment for, I think, I can speak for everybody here. We were all emotional, some of us were crying. To be able to watch that, knowing that they had the chance to do that after they came out of the military, I think it's they definitely earned a lot of respect, most definitely. The fact that they had the courage to go to the military, and then they definitely earned the opportunity to put the wreath up there for the unknown soldier.
If you have any last minute questions, don't hesitate to ask any questions, it's fine. From there, he'll step like so, and he'll say, please join me by my side. So as a group, you four will walk forward, and basically you two will get shoulder to shoulder with him. You two will follow suit behind. After that, he'll say, ready, step. You'll walk down the stairs, and there's a gray brick on the plaza. You'll hear, ready, stop. You two will stop right there, basically toe the line with it. Once you're stopping, wreath bearer will be about right here, and he'll say, please place both hands on the wreath. You two in the front, place your hands on the wreath. He'll say, please follow me. You two will start walking with the wreath bearer. So when they start walking forward, you two in the back will stay put. About 5 steps in, you're going to hear present arms. You two in the back, you can place your hands over your heart. If you're veterans, salute, whichever you prefer and feel more comfortable with. You two in the front, since you're moving with the wreath, you don't got to do anything yet. You'll lay the wreath, and then he'll say, please return to the side of the host. Let's turn around, go right back to the group, face the wreath, and immediately place your hand over your heart or salute. After that, taps will play. Once taps complete, Sergeant Maxwell will then say, please face towards the top of the stairs. You'll just do a 180, face top of the stairs, you two in the back and in the front. Sergeant Maxwell will walk to the front left of the group, he'll say ready, step. You'll just walk up in between the pillars. Then once you get in between the pillars, you stop, turn around, talk to me for a second, and you're done.
Touching back on the monuments with the veterans, there was this one gentleman that I was walking with at the Vietnam Memorial. He was talking to me. He actually served in the Vietnam War, and I found out that he served with my pappy, my grandfather, my favorite person on this earth. It was really inspiring and touching to hear him talk about the war, knowing that my grandfather wasn't able to because of the trauma and the PTSD from it, but hearing him talk about it, and then hearing the fact that he knew my grandfather and he was speaking so highly of him, it was really touching, especially for him to be able to stand on that monument and speak about it, knowing all the troubles with the war, knowing the PTSD that came with, knowing the trauma that came with, and knowing that there was a possibility of him not making it out, but yet he still chooses to speak upon it. I think that's inspiring to a lot of people, because there's a lot of people that may go through something, not want to talk about it, but for him to stand there and talk to me for a good 20 minutes, I think that helps other people to be able to talk about what they've went through in the military and their trauma with wars, or even if they didn't even go to the war and they just had issues, whether they were at basic training or boot camp. Anything really in the military, they should be able to talk about. And I think that gentleman speaking upon it, especially about speaking the war that he was in, is really helpful.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The ceremony that you are about to witness is an Army wreath-laying ceremony to be conducted in honor of the unknown. It is requested that everyone remain silent and standing during this ceremony. All military personnel in uniform will render the hand salute, and it is appropriate for all others to place their right hand over their heart upon the command of present arms. Thank you.
Lenny has my respect entirely. I would do anything for him. He's one of my favorite people. When I heard that he was laying the wreath for the unknown soldier, it made me feel so happy for him. I was so proud. I have so many pictures and videos of Lenny and Hugh, and I was so happy because he deserves the world in my eyes. He's very sweet. He cares about everybody. And after, he was like, I was so nervous, like I didn't know if I was walking right and doing the right thing, and I was terrified. And I was like, you did perfect. You did what you were meant to do. You deserve to be in the spot that you were here in right now.
Present! Off! Order! Off!
I thought the laying of the wreath was really beautiful, and it was really nice seeing how special that was to the veterans. Like, when they were playing the taps, it was really emotional. I wanted to cry because it was just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say. It was really beautiful, and it was honorable being able to see that. And it really meant something to the veterans, and it meant something to me to see what they have gone through and how much they are respected for it and how much of heroes they are to this whole country. And they're just amazing. And they deserve it all.
Now, one thing I'd like to add is I would always have to wonder how it felt for any veterans who may have been watching that didn't have a friend or a family member come home from war or something along those lines. it's truly touching to be there and to watch the wreath being laid. It's beautiful.
Alright, this is kind of a side note, but I want to put a big thank you to Miss McVicker and Hugh for being able to fund this, put this together, and make this all happen, and let us as a group experience helping the veterans and seeing all these things, because without them, this would be pretty hard to do.
One last thing I gotta say for the wreath laying is everyone that was there was honored, and especially the veterans that laid that wreath.
You never really know what someone is going through, so you never know if someone has had a bad day or hard life, or if they were having an amazing day. So you should always just choose to be kind to people. Even if they're not kind to you, be the bigger person, show them respect, and just, if they're not being kind to you, walk away, show them empathy, show them sympathy if you need to, because they could just be very stressed out and don't mean to take it out on you.
Kind of what Maya was saying about people and being kind to them. I would say everyone deserves respect, even if they're not respectful towards you. You should still show them a little bit of respect. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what they've lived through, been through, done, seen. So everyone does deserve a little bit of respect.
I think with, like you said, our generation specifically, whether we realize it or not, we're so caught up in us and right now and the future that sometimes we forget there are other people and there is the past and those things happened. And being on that trip really helps you stop and realize that no matter how much we forget about it, it really wasn't that long ago that these things happened. Most of the people on this trip were our grandparents' age. This happened one generation in our family ago. It's really not that far away, and I think we tend to forget just how short of a time period it's been in between those things and now. And going on the trip and seeing the age of the people that were there, that are veterans, that served in some of these things, really puts into perspective how much we need to be more aware of what's going on around us instead of just ourselves.
We do a lot for the veterans in Newcastle. We try to help them as much as we can, whether it's giving them a flag at a parade, planting flags at a tombstone, or even taking a group of veterans to see a bunch of monuments that they haven't gotten the chance to see in their lifetime before.
It doesn't matter if it's just one flag or a handshake. They're happy to be recognized as a person, as something that they've done for us. I think it's lost in time, like when we're in school and we're just learning about it, and because they're just sitting there and they're not really focused in on what they're learning, what they're hearing, they forget who these people were. They have a family, they have people who care about them, and I think inside of schools, some kids really forget that we're here because they fought for us, they made this change so we are able to do the things that we're sitting here doing today. We wouldn't be able to do this stuff if it wasn't for them, and I feel like if we don't recognize more and more about what they've done and who they are, it's going to get forgotten. So I think recognizing them, even handing them flags, shaking their hands, saying thank you for what they've done is really big for them.
Another thing that we do, because not a lot of students get the opportunity to do the trip that we went on, but we do want to make sure not a single veteran gets forgotten about, we have a honor wall that we let students send in pictures of their friends or family members that was in the military, and they can send in their rank and name, and it's right outside our library in the school, and it's just a whole wall full of veterans from every branch, every rank, and all of their names. It's really touching to help veterans, especially being able to serve them for another time and before the parade, and we get to serve them food and lunch and help them eat. It's really touching. Not a lot of them are able to move on their own. They do have mobility issues, so whether it's you getting up and getting their plate for them, or you helping them eat by lifting a fork or helping them get their drink, it's really helpful, and they are so thankful, and they really do show that they are thankful and that they respect you, because you don't have to sit there and help them, but we choose to help them because it's what's right in our heads. They do really show their respect, and that how grateful and thankful that they are, and how they're happy that maybe it's not everybody from my generation, but a lot of the kids are starting to learn about the veterans and about wars and starting to actually care about it.
So I don't think that we'll be able to put an end to the killing and murder and the destruction of the world. There's way too much hatred and people that just don't get along with each other over little things too. But they like to just throw around big things, and I do think that one day it will all come to an end and they will eventually destroy this world. I do think we have kids around our age in this generation that will have the mindset and strive to change the world and do better, but I just don't know how that will play out.
I think that we can sit here all day and say that our school and the people that we know would do those things, but you have to think that our generation isn't just the people we're seeing here every day when we come to school. It's people across continents, oceans apart. Everybody's learning differently, and some people don't have the peer leadership or the teachers or the adults that are willing to help them figure out how to put the differences aside and figure out how to get along without actually getting along. So I would love to say that our whole entire generation could be those people, but unfortunately it doesn't necessarily start with our generation. It starts with the people who are teaching our generation. And if they're not going to teach us how to put those problems aside and they're going to ignore it and let us lead our own conclusions, then it's never going to get anywhere.
On behalf of the Veterans Agent Orange Veterans Project, we give you this pin.
I agree with Austin and Maddie. I don't think that as of right now, the people in my age group are able to be the leaders and put things to an end and stop things. I just don't foresee that happening, and maybe I hope one day that we will be able to make that happen, find some sort of peace, find some sort of something that makes us all be able to agree with one another. But there is a picture of something, I've read it before, where there's two sides of a story. I have the number 6 in front of me, but you could be looking at the number 9. I could be seeing something completely different than what you're seeing. So if you have one person coming to you saying, oh, well, this is what I heard, this is what I saw, but then you have another person saying, this is what I heard, this is what I saw, and then they're going to their groups and saying it, and those groups are going to their groups, I don't think that right now it's just something that's going to be able to happen. There's just too much right now that's going on, and we have a lot more things to worry about as of what's going on currently.
I feel as though there could be a way that we could be leaders for sure. But what I think is that if we tie empathy into that, it's like not everybody thinks from a place of emotion. We all just see like factual. We think, it's hard to phrase. Okay. If you're in an argument with somebody, you mainly see your side. I feel as though we could find a way to be leaders if we start to think from others' perspectives. And throughout this trip, I feel as though it opens your eyes and you start to think through other perspectives. It helps you be grateful in a sense. And I feel as though we could be leaders in a sense. That's what I believe.
Now, I don't know whether or not our generation is going to be able to become those leaders. And for our sake and for everybody else's sake, I hope that somebody or a group of people will step up to solve these problems that we're facing in our world. And to kind of reiterate what everybody else has said, the human race as a race needs to step up and put each other in each other's shoes and settle each other's differences and move on.
I think everybody, no matter who it is searching for their one final thing. Like, me and Riley could be sitting here talking about something, and I could want one thing and she could want another, and we both want one thing, and I don't think we could ever agree on it because we both want our one thing. I think everybody who is in an argument wants their answer to be the right answer. They think, oh, my answer is right, your answer is wrong. And they want their answer to be the right answer. They don't even look at the other person's conclusion on why they think like that. They don't ask. I'm terrified for the future of just stuff that I see on the news and stuff that my mom and my stepdad will talk about right in the kitchen right in front of me. I get very fearful, not for myself, but for my little siblings. I very much care about my family, and in particular my one little sister. She's the light of my life. But I get scared when she goes to school. I get scared when I don't know where she is.
All right, thank you, my Vietnam vets, and welcome home.
As far as like being scared for the future, I'm terrified, not just like much for myself, but more for the people that I really truly care and love. It's something that I think about often. I'm very scared about it, and I don't really like to talk about it because I'm very fearful and I don't know where it's gonna go, like what's gonna change, like what's gonna happen.
Okay, so I'm actually fearful for like the people like Maddie, for our generation, for like Maddie. She enlisted and going into the army, and with the way that our world is working at the moment, that there's a lot of violence over little things that they could just tell, like opinions again. Just people tell their opinions and then violence happens over it. So I'm very fearful for like the people that are going to go into war and the generation that is going to go into war, because you never know if they can make it out or if it will change our future or not.
I think a lot of people fear the unknown and not knowing what will happen and not knowing what the future will hold and how our economy is and how the world is working right now. It also puts a lot of fear into people, like what Kayla said.
To kind of reiterate what I said earlier about people just need to move on, I didn't mean move on like forget about what all we've done. But what I meant was to move on from all the little petty issues and pay more attention to the bigger picture. To forgive and learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, all of the veterans also, none of them really knew each other. Like, they've never met each other. And they were all kind of talking like they've known each other for years, like they were best friends. Like, they would communicate they would communicate about what things that have happened to them, and they work together. Like they bonded over the things that they both have everybody has went through, and they all had similar, even if they didn't go through the same exact thing, it was all very similar.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and so they kind of just acted like they were all best friends almost, like they have known each other their whole lives. And it was really cool to see it, just how everyone cared for each other being there, and everyone like kind of knew a part about each other without actually knowing them.
Teenagers don't visit Vietnam Moving Wall. My letter pertains to the recent visit of the Vietnam Moving Wall. I am 15 years of age and visited the wall 6 times. In each of my visits, I noticed the lack of people my age. I feel that teenagers either don't care or are not educated enough about the war in Vietnam. If it were a sports hero or a music star, more teenagers would come and see them, rather than the real heroes of this country. The ones who have made the supreme sacrifice so that you and I could live in freedom. Of the 58,000 young men and women whose names are on the wall, a majority were under 21. But a majority of visitors were much older. My father fought in the Vietnam War, and he was one of the lucky ones to come back in one piece and alive. I can recall one ceremony which I attended for the local POWs and MIAs. I saw only one other person around my age, and that was my 12-year-old brother. So the next time the wall comes to Hermitage or to any other city, I hope we, teenagers, take the time to go and pay our respects to the men and women whose names are forever engraved in the wall. And I hope everybody also can take the time out of their day to thank a veteran and let him or her know that you appreciate what they have done for you. I thank every veteran from World War I to the Persian Gulf, and I personally thank the Vietnam vets. They are not forgotten in my heart.